Hello, chess lovers. This is Coach Daniel Magen, and I'm really excited today to introduce you one of the most unique and effective technique in the game of chess. This technique is used to calculate different positions, starting with tactics which you can solve on chess.com, or you read in some books, or during your live chess game when you're trying to calculate which move to play and if there is a solution or winning move to this specific position. So this technique is called reverse engineering, and I took and put it on my chess-based software, one of the most famous position from the book called Invisible Moves. This position occurred in a game between two international masters, and in the book it's very easy, it just says white to play and win. Now, when you try to solve these kind of tactics, so you have some information about the position, for example, white to play and win, so you know there must be a way to win this position for the white pieces. So it's already saving you 50% of the job, because you know there must be a solution. So with that said, let's compare it for a second to live chess game. While we are playing a live chess game, we don't know for sure if there is a winning move in this specific position. But sometimes we get this hunch, we get this intuition on some kind of variation or a move, and we want to be effective in the way of thinking in our calculations to make sure if this is the correct move, if this is the solution, if this is the right way to play our next move. Now, a lot of times, the first move is not the last move. After the first move, there is a second move and a third move, and you need to calculate in advance many moves ahead. And the way to do it is by a technique called reverse engineering. First, we find the solution, then we can understand easily, as you will see in the next example, where should I put each and every piece while I'm playing this variation and trying to solve this position, whether if it's during a live game of chess or if I just try to solve a tactic on some of the famous websites like chess.com, chess24, Lichess, or just reading it in books like Invisible Moves, which I really recommend you to read. So this position was played by two international masters, and I just want to say to you that actually white missed the win in this position, and the game ended with a draw, and we are going to solve this position together, but our main focus will be on the technique reverse engineering and not actually about the solution itself. So I'm going to walk you through the solution and explain you how I think when I'm approaching this kind of position, whether if it's live game or if I just try to solve this puzzle. So the first move that jumped into my head will be probably h7, because this pawn is so close to promote queen, and on d7 the bishop is blocked. So I will go with h7 immediately in my mind, but then I will notice that bishop g6 just catch the h7 pawn. Wherever the king is going, just bishop takes on h7. So I will think to myself probably the first few seconds, this is not a good move. I will just lose this very strong pawn, and I don't want to do it. So I will jump to the second move, d7. But d7 seems very not logical, because after d7, bishop takes on d7, h7, maybe going for the promotion, but again, bishop f5, let's see it for a second, and the bishop catches the other pawn as well, and this position probably will end up in a draw, but already black is, we can say black is a little bit better on the position if white is not going to play very accurate for the draw. So we can go backwards again, and we will maybe consider some defense move like bishop g3, just to block the h2 and the obvious threat to promote on h1. But after king takes on h6 and placing the bishop on d7 square, blocking d6 and defending h3 pawn, this endgame will be no more than a draw. So now, in the second stage of our thinking process, we are going to recheck one more time h7, maybe there is something deeper in this position with this move. So after h7, I can understand now that bishop g6 maybe takes the pawn on h7, but it actually evacuates the d7 square. So maybe after d6, after h7, I will be able to promote the d6 pawn with d7, d8. Now, the question on this position is, where do I move my king? And you have to understand these little details, nuances actually are very important, because this can be the difference between a win, a draw, and a loss. And we have to decide already now where are we going to put the king, because we want to be very accurate with our way of thinking, with our version, to make sure we are finding the solution and we are not going to be blindsided by our opponent. So after bishop g6, we want to know where the king can move. But here is the magic. Here is the how we are going to use this technique, reverse engineering. We first are going to find the solution, because when we will find the solution, we will know where would we like to put the king. Now it sounds a little bit funny, we find the solution. Of course, if we will find the solution, we know where the king go. But this is how it works in chess. We have the opportunity to use our imagination to find the solution. And those of you who are playing sometimes blind chess, and I really recommend you to do so, because it will train your mind to seek and to predict some moves in advance by training on blind chess games. So you can understand that a lot of time we need to imagine the board in different positions to understand if this is the right move or the wrong move. Now, for example, in this position, we would like to understand where would we like to have the king in the solution of the position. So let's find the solution. I will do something now that I can do also in live chess using my imagination. I will take the king out of the board, and I already prepared another demonstration board in my chess-based software without the king. And let's move forward for this board. So we said h7, bishop g6, king moves, and bishop takes on h7. Now, remember, you have to remember in your mind that at some point we will have to bring the king back to the game and decide where to land this king, where is the correct position, the correct square to put the king. But for now, we are going with our guts and our intuition to find the solution. We are just keep going with the variation with this line to find the solution, and then in the end of the solution we will decide where we should put the king. So the next move will be d7, and it's very important to understand at this moment that we are going to promote first. We are going to have the queen first, and this is why it seems to me the right way for the solution. This is the only line where I gain a little bit advantage by promoting my queen first. So d7, h2, d8 queen, h1 queen. Now again, I'm not going to focus on the solution, but just on the technique reverse engineering. So it's very important to understand now that I will look for, in this kind of position, first move. First move such as the check on e8, a5, and d1. I will do a little bit research which one is the best, and I will find easily that the only square for the queen that make a little bit more pressure on the black side of my opponent is on d1. Queen d1 is actually making the check and also put some x-ray, some stress on the black queen. Now this method, this kind of position, this kind of moves actually preparing for discover checked, where we are going to move the bishop, make the check, and gain the queen. So the king has to go to light squares. It cannot go to dark squares, because after, for example, if the king will go to g5, we have bishop d2, and we will win the queen and the game. So the only move that can survive this attack for now will be king to g6. And remember, our king is still out of the board. We didn't bring it back yet. We still want to make sure we found a solution, and then we will know where would we like to put our king. So king g6, and again we are seeking for the first move. The most first move at this position that's still maintaining the stress on the h1 square will be queen to b1. Queen to b1, and once again the black king is under attack, and it needs to go somewhere. It cannot go to any of the dark squares because same thing all over again. For example, king f6, bishop c3, discover check, and I will gain the queen and I will win the game. So the only move seems to work for the black side right now is king f7. And now comes the winning move in the position. So if you would like to stop the video here and try to find it by yourself, please do, because I'm going to show the solution. I'm going to focus on the technique, reverse engineering, and not how I found this specific move and this solution. So the solution is queen to b7. I forced the queen's exchange, and after takes on b7, I will take back with my pawn from a6 on b7, and there is no way to stop the promotion of the next queen on b8, and white is winning. But now it brings us back to the question, where would we put the king? So we are going back after we found the solution, and now we can understand where would we like to put the king. So the king was under check on the d3 square. So we are going to see what was the routine of the queen during this play, during this solution. So first of all, we had the first move, queen d1. Queen d1 check means the king cannot be on this diagonal. It means the king cannot come from d3 to e2 because it will block the first very check of this line. So e2 is not the correct square for our king. Let's move on. After king goes to g6, we have the next move, queen to b1. So the king, of course, cannot stay on this diagonal d3, e4, and c2 in any case because it will be under the check of the bishop and it's illegal. But let's go one move backwards for a second, and remember also the king cannot be on any dark square that will block the bishop, because for example, if the king will be on c3, so let's see it on the other demonstration board. If the king will go to c3, after the next few moves, check, king g6, queen b1 check, and suddenly king f6, and we don't have the move bishop c3 check, the discover check to win the queen. And same thing regarding d2 and e3 square. For example, if we will move to e3 or d2, we won't have the discover check. After takes, d7, h2, queen, queen, check, king g5, and we don't have the discover check to win the queen. So we understand now we cannot go to any of the dark squares here, and we cannot go to e4, d3, c2, and not, of course, d3 we were on this square, so we have to move from there, and cannot go to e2 because it will block the queen's diagonal. The only move left us to play is to c4. And now by reverse engineering, first finding the solution, and then coming back to land the king in the correct square, we can know now that the right square for the king in this position is to c4. After king c4 takes d7, h2, queen, queen, queen d1 check, king goes to g6, cannot go to any other place because of the discover check, queen b1, same thing all over again, and after king f7, this is the most beautiful, the end of this position and the solution, queen b7 first to exchange the queens, and there is no way to stop the next queen from promoting. So remember, we are not trying to find on the spot the very accurate move of the line. We actually put the king away and just return it when it's comfortable for us. After, we will find the solution. This is called reverse engineering technique, and it's very useful. I really hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one.